Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Lauren. I do ram content to my channel whenever I can. So we finally have another Iceberg video out, and this time it's about Barbie and the Barbie movie lore from all the Barbie movies we grew up with. So I'm really happy to say that we finally have another Iceberg video out, and I'm finally tackling another Iceberg. Credit to the TikToker Krimishi who made the original Iceberg, but one thing I do want to mention is that in the original Iceberg, it had mentions and speculation surrounding the 2023 Barbie movie, as Krimishi had made her Iceberg back in 2022. So I did take that out of this video as the Barbie movie has already released and stuff like pictures, actors, and all that aren't really relevant anymore since we already know who was in the movie and how it looks like. However, to replace that, I did add in a few entries into the Iceberg, so I tried to compensate for that. Anyways, without further ado, sit back, relax, grab a snack, and let's tackle the Barbie Iceberg. Barbie and the Rockers / Barbie and the Sensations. Barbie and the Rockers Out of This World is a 1987 American animated TV special. The story was based on the Barbie and the Rockers line of dolls, which featured Barbie as the leader of a rock band. The miniseries was supposed to have been the pilot for a daily Barbie cartoon series. However, negotiations between DIC and Mattel fell through, and the project eventually emerged with a whole new set of characters. Barbie and the Sensations Rocking Back to Earth is a 1987 American animated television special and the sequel to Barbie and the Rockers Out of This World. Barbie is an actress theory. This theory regards the Barbie movies and how Barbie stars in these movies, yet some of these movies actually showcase Barbie's real life. For example, in the earlier Barbie movies, Barbie played characters with different names, like Liana in Diamond Castle, Genevieve in The 12 Dancing Princesses, and Annalise in Princess and the Pauper. Another thing to bring up is in the older movies, bloopers during the films were shot, showing that Barbie is acting. Now in some movies like Fashion Fairy Tale and Fairy's Secret, Barbie is obviously shown as an actress, as in the beginning of Fashion Fairy Tale, a poster is shown of Barbie in a mermaid tail. Barbie also does mention that she is an actress. She also mentions the time when she filmed the Three Musketeers in the Fashion Fairy Tale movie. And in Fairy's Secret, at the beginning of the movie, Barbie is shown walking the red carpet for her upcoming movie. So yeah, this is not necessarily a theory. It is literally proven she is an actress. Just some movies she stars in and others are showing her real life, if that makes sense. Barbie movie Flash games. Back in the 2000s and early 2010s, when Flash was still available and popular, the Barbie movies would have Flash games and bonus content that could be found on the Barbie.com website. Nowadays, if you were to go to the Barbie.com website, it will just take you to Mattel's website. Some of these games do have gameplay footage of them and most likely could be found on either the Wayback Machine or other websites. However, due to Flash-based games being discontinued in 2020, there is a possibility that some of these games cannot be played. Brie Larson sings the Pegasus theme. Brie Larson, the actress known for playing Captain Marvel, sang the theme for the 2005 Barbie Magic of the Pegasus movie. Actress / imagination / real life Barbie Cinematic Universe Trichotomy Theory. This theory from the TikToker Krimishi, who created this iceberg, basically regards the Barbie universe theory and how everything is tied together.
You are only half correct. Welcome back to the Barbie movie Iceberg. And I'm sorry in advance for the obnoxious amount of information I have on this. Barbie is an actress in a lot of her movies, and the best way to be able to tell is the title, like the comment mentioned, or whether or not the movie has bloopers. But it's not 100% foolproof. Example, Barbie as the Princess and the Pauper. Barbie is an actress, and there are bloopers of her playing the Princess and the Pauper characters. What about Barbie of Swan Lake? This movie starts off with Barbie as Barbie telling a little girl a story about Odette being brave. So while it's obvious to you and me that this character is played by Barbie in a movie where she is Barbie and she's played by Barbie, who is a character who is not real, within the Barbie universe, where she is a person, in this movie she is not an actress. Swan Lake takes place either in her imagination or in the little girl's imagination. This goes along with my trichotomy theory. which is my theory that every single Barbie movie that we have in our universe is either a movie that Barbie acted in as an actress, or in her imagination, or happening to her real life. If there are bloopers, it's a movie where she is an actress. If it is a frame story, which is where it starts out as Barbie telling a story to someone else, like in A Christmas Carol, then it's all happening in their imagination. And if it's neither, example, A Fairy Secret, it is happening to literal Barbie in real life. An example of one of these movies happening to her real life is Fashion Fairy Tale. Barbie, the actress, is having these magical things happen to her. She references other movies that she's been in. Does not have a frame story, so it is just happening to her. Example, Barbie in A Mermaid Tale. No frame story. Her name isn't Barbie. She is an actress in this movie. Another example, Barbie in A Christmas Carol. This movie starts with Barbie, the person, the actress, the philanthropist, telling her little sister a story so she'll want to come to the Christmas ball or whatever. That story is the Christmas Carol. So the TLDR is that Barbie is an actress in a lot of the movies, but not necessarily an actress in some of the others. Every once in a while, there will be a Barbie movie where it is clearly a frame story, even though there are bloopers. The bloopers are in our universe, they're not in her universe. Because I said so. Anyway, follow for more Iceberg.
Mycene. In the early 2000s, Mycene dolls were made by Mattel and made to make Barbie appeal more to the tween demographic. Mycene was meant to rival the MGA Bratz dolls, but fell short. Preminger memes. I think since the beginning of 2023, or maybe since quarantine, I don't remember, the character Preminger from Barbie Princess and the Pauper has been used in many memes, and honestly, it is very iconic.
Why don't you stick to your books, schoolboy? Wouldn't that be fun?
Rapunzel's dress in Madame Carp's Dress Emporium. In the background when Erica sings, a dress is shown in the back of Madame Carp's shop, which looks like Rapunzel's dress from Barbie as Rapunzel. I think another dress from that movie that also makes an appearance in Madame Carp's Dress Emporium is the exact dress that Madame Carp is wearing. It looks just like one of the dresses that Barbie painted on, with all the bows and such. Villains and the color green. This references that most of the Barbie villains have either a green aura around them or they dress in green colors, such as Jacqueline from Fashion Fairy Tale, Gothel from Rapunzel, Lydia from Diamond Castle, and the list goes on. Looking at the picture of all the villains right now shows that the majority have some type of green to them. All of the movies are connected. Many fans have speculated that all of the Barbie movies are connected in some way to each other, whether that be through some characters looking similar or just obvious references to other movies. There is a theory that discusses how all the movies are connected, but it has its own entry lower in the iceberg that we will get into later. Mariposa is a myth to Elena. It is said that Mariposa is Elena's old friend, yet many have theorized how can that be, as the two seem to coincide in different places or maybe different times. It is theorized that the Mariposa films take place hundreds of years before the Fairytopia movies, which can explain why Mariposa may be seen as a myth to Elena. Trailer to movie design changes. I brought this up in my Speculated Barbie Lost Media video, which I will link in the description. Basically, in the teaser trailers for the Barbie movies, mostly all of them have scrapped characters or early development content that is present only in the teaser trailer and not the final trailer. I have speculated there to be possible lost media due to the changes, with Princess Charmskull having the most notable change, which I will get into a little later. Most female villains have short hair. If we look at some of the villains in the Barbie movies, majority of the women tend to have short hair, or their hair is up in a hairstyle that makes it look short, such as Laverna and Gothel. Kelly is Chelsea. According to the Barbie Wiki, Kelly's name was later changed to Chelsea. Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade appearance. Barbie made her Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade debut in the 1986 parade, appearing on a float based on the line of dolls titled Barbie and the Rockers, and also appeared to promote the direct-to-VHS film of the same name. Villains are animal abusers. I think the cherry on top of being a villain in the Barbie movies is to be cruel to animals who are not their own, because all of the villains seem to have their own animal that they treasure, all while hurting other animals. For example, Preminger and his dog versus how he treats Erica's dog. Cured disability, ableism in Fairytopia. In the first Fairytopia movie, Alina doesn't have wings and is considered by many fans to be disabled as the other fairies have wings and Alina doesn't. The quote-unquote cured disability, ableism, is in reference to how Alina had adapted pretty well to not having wings and she could have gone on to do more without them. However, she got her wings and it made it seem like her disability was suddenly quote-unquote cured. Anti-Semitic character designs. According to the user Jewish_bisexual on the site twtext.com, they made a thread highlighting anti-Semitic character designs and tropes in the Barbie movies. It's a pretty long post, so I will cover notable examples. In The Magic of Pegasus, the evil villain is a sorcerer who has cursed not only Barbie's sister into a Pegasus, but also his 3 wives into goblins. He also has 2 different colored eyes. Barbie, who's named Annika in the movie, is her usual blonde, blue-eyed self. So the 3 wives. As goblins, they are exact caricatures of anti-Semitic tropes of Jewish people. The long, crooked noses, the gangly arms, and bent backs. Then we have Barbie, with her blue eyes and blonde hair. That's how she always is, and it screams of master race. It's unsettling at the end too. In their human forms, one of the wives is a woman of color, and the other 2 are brunettes. I'm not trying to be picky, but there's a vast difference here compared to even Barbie's sister, who isn't blonde when she's not a Pegasus. The goblin anti-Semitic trope is so problematic, and the fact that it's so casually thrown in is detrimental to so many young girls. I also think it's harmful that they didn't give a bigger storyline to these wives who were forced into slavery, nor were they even given names. So let's take a look at anti-Semitism in history. The Jewish nose is a common stereotype that dates back centuries, but became incredibly prevalent in the early to mid-20th century with the rise of Nazism. The quote-unquote Jewish nose stereotype, when used, is never used by accident, and it wasn't an accident in the Barbie movies. I also think it's incredibly worth noting that with all these stereotypes lined up, we have Barbie, who is blonde and blue-eyed. She is the perfect model of Hitler's version of the Aryan race. To end this thread, remember that the Barbie doll was created by a Jewish woman named Ruth Handler. So not only is it disrespectful to her memory to have these anti-Semitic tropes in these Barbie movies, it's also incredibly harmful to everyone watching. Cancelled Barbie as Sleeping Beauty movie. Barbie as the Sleeping Beauty is rumored to be the first or the 16th CGI movie in the Barbie animated series, meaning it would have either been made before the first ever Barbie movie in 2001, Barbie in the Nutcracker, or it would have either predated or replaced the 2009 movie Barbie and the Three Musketeers as the 16th movie in the franchise. The movie would have adapted Tchaikovsky's Sleeping Beauty ballet into a Barbie film, similar to that of the ballet Nutcracker adaptation or the ballet Swan Lake adaptation that were all made by Tchaikovsky. In 1999, Dolls and a CD-ROM game were released. However, none of them had ever advertised a tie-in movie. But in a commercial for the Barbie as the Sleeping Beauty doll, there are animated clips within the commercial, which could induce speculation that a movie may have been in the works but was never completed or scrapped. It was then found that it was made into a short film in 1999, which was uploaded by the YouTube channel Barbie Commercial. In 2008 to 2009, dolls and playsets were released with the title Barbie as the Sleeping Beauty, which could imply that a movie may have been attempted once again to add to the Barbie movie series. However, as we know, it never happened and it did not make it far into production. Disney had made their 1959 Sleeping Beauty movie, and they were able to acquire the rights to most of the music for Sleeping Beauty. And in 2007, Disney attempted to obtain the rights to the name Princess Aurora, which sparked controversy as in Tchaikovsky's ballet version, the name Princess Aurora is also used. Anyways, with the music rights and the name being held above Mattel's head by Disney, this may have been the cause of the Barbie movie's cancellation. Barbie Cinematic Universe versus the Vlogverse. The BCU, or Barbie Cinematic Universe, consists of all the movies that Barbie has either starred in, such as Barbie in A Mermaid Tale, or follows her life like Barbie in a fashion fairy tale. The Vlogverse follows the vlogs that Barbie would make on her YouTube channel, which would tend to follow the Dreamhouse Adventure series. The two, by many, have seemed to either be separate entities or can be fully placed in a present time when constructing a time period featuring the BCU and the Vlogverse. Magic exists in the Vlogverse. I think we can assume that magic exists in the Vlogverse of Barbie, with the smallest of it being present. Magic exists fully in the BCU, but we can assume that traces of it exist in Barbie's real life, such as in Fashion Fairy Tale and Fairy Secret. It's just hidden better. But overall, we can assume that there has to be some type of magic in the Vlogverse. It's just not very prevalent. Wenlock's multiple child brides. Okay, so this one's a little weird, but I think I can explain it. If I'm wrong, someone please correct me in the comments. So in Barbie Magic of Pegasus, Wenlock is known for forcing marriage upon Annika and her sister Brietta. Wenlock wanted Brietta to marry him at 16, in which she refused, causing him to turn her into a Pegasus. He later proposed to Annika when she was 16, and she refused as well. He had 3 wives prior to, in which he turned them into goblins when they annoyed him. What can possibly be assumed is that he went after his wives when they were probably much younger, similar to that when he went after a 16-year-old Brietta and Annika. I could be dead wrong, but that's my possible explanation for this one. The original Barbie Princess Charm School concept. In 2010, the teaser trailer for Barbie Princess Charm School was released. Take notice of Delancey in the back. Delancey was portrayed in every single media release as a part of Blair and her crew, which was finalized in the movie to be composed of Hadley and Isla. Yet Isla is nowhere to be found on the front cover of any media produced, especially the books. So apparently, the original concept of Princess Charm School was supposed to have Isla as Dame Devon's daughter, but the writers changed it due to the similarity that Delancey had to Dame Devon's character design, and the fact that kids would find Delancey being Dame Devon's daughter as easier to see rather than Isla. This can explain why the cover art, books, and everything was never changed, as it could be an homage to the original concept, and the fact that Mattel usually creates the merchandise first before the movie is released, as well as the fact that Delancey wore Isla's graduation gown in early concept photos for the movie, and Isla did not even have a doll. It gets better. In the back of the DVD, which was never changed, says, and I quote, "Blair loves her classes, her helpful magical sprites, and her new friends, Princesses Hadley and Delancey." When royal teacher Dame Devon believes Blair resembles the kingdom's missing princess, she goes out of her way to keep Blair from having any chance of claiming the throne. Blair, Hadley, and Delancey must reveal the enchanted crown they found and prove the true identity of Blair in this magic-filled princess story. So because a promo was made with Delancey being with Blair and Hadley, as well as the literal back of the DVD, this can imply that there is possible lost media of Isla as Dame Devon's daughter, and Delancey as a part of Blair's crew. But of course, this is just me speculating, and we don't know this for a fact. I'm only going based off a trailer, an original concept, and a DVD back cover, which is most likely the deadest of giveaways that something has to exist. Princess Genevieve equals Queen Genevieve. This theory speculates that Genevieve in the 12 Dancing Princesses becomes Queen Genevieve in Barbie Princess and the Pauper. I actually never noticed that the two had the same name and kinda look similar, so this is a pretty interesting theory. Princess Delia is Rosella's mother. Princess Delia, one of the 12 Dancing Princesses, is theorized to be Rosella's mother in Island Princess. This theory may stem from how many like to tie the 12 Dancing Princesses with Island Princess. However, this theory may fall apart when looking at the character designs. Marisa, Rosella's mother, has almost green emerald eyes, while Princess Delia has light green eyes. I'd like to hear what you guys think about this theory down below. Does magic exist in the Barbie diaries? In the movie, the diary is said to be magic, as whatever Barbie writes in it, it comes true. So we can assume magic exists in the Barbie diaries. The Missing Princess and the Pea movie. The Missing Princess and the Pea movie may be an in-universe reference to the beginning of Barbie Fashion Fairy Tale. In the beginning of the movie, it is noted that Barbie is starring as the princess in the retelling of the story of The Princess and the Pea, a movie that seemingly in-universe stopped production. Thumbelina is real. This may stem from the fact that the Thumbelina movie says, quote-unquote, Barbie presents, and Barbie herself is in the movie as herself, which can imply that Thumbelina is a real character within the Barbie universe. Alexa and Liana are girlfriends. Many have speculated Alexa and Liana to be lesbians, or just overall ship them together, and most refer to them as cottagecore girlfriends. Added hair on Thumbelina poster. This is in reference to how Thumbelina in the movie poster has a half up, half down hairstyle, while throughout the movie, she has her hair in a bun. Connected is a cover. The song Connected that is sung by Liana and Alexa in Diamond Castle is a cover song, with the original song being sung by Latin pop group RBD. I would play the song, but I don't want to get copyrighted, so you can just search it up on YouTube and it sounds literally the exact same. Preminger's parents. It is relatively unknown about Preminger's past, let alone his parents. According to the Villains Wiki, much of Preminger's early history remains unknown. However, it is known that Preminger is the son of a peasant, and at some point, he became the royal advisor of Queen Genevieve. Famous actors voicing characters. Famous voice actors like Alessandro Giuliani, who voices a lot of anime characters, voiced Julian in Princess and the Pauper. Martin Short, a famous actor, had also voiced Preminger in Princess and the Pauper, and there are many more other famous people who voiced other characters. Live in Fairytopia. Barbie Live in Fairytopia is the live stage version of the widely popular Barbie Fairytopia movie, released in spring 2005. It is a musical, fully staged theater production directed by Eric Schaffner, with original songs and dancing, and has the characters from the film. It is two 30-minute acts divided by a 15-minute intermission. It toured 80 American cities from late 2005 to 2006. According to the YouTuber Erica B., who created a Barbie Movie's Lost Media video, which I will link down below, mentions that the Barbie Live in Fairytopia had some lost media to it, as very little has surfaced regarding the production. Princess Sophia and Blair are related. Now this one was a bit confusing. At first, I thought this one shouldn't have been added due to how in Princess Charm's school we already know that Blair is Princess Sophia. However, another character in the Barbie universe was named Princess Sophia, but it's spelled with an F instead of the PH. This Princess Sophia is an island princess as one of Prince Antonio's younger sisters. Depending on the timeline, maybe they could be related, but I don't know. Madame Katharina is from a secret magic dance world. In Barbie and the Pink Shoes, Madame Katharina is the one who gives Kristen the pink shoes that transports her to the ballet dance realm with Giselle and Swan Lake. This theory speculates that Madame Katharina might be from a secret dance realm, similar to how in Fairy Secret there is a secret fairy realm that could only be accessed in a certain way. According to the user Darren Flower on the Barbie Movies wiki, their theory goes as the following. As you can see in the film, everyone at the Ballet Academy has their alternate version as a character in the magic world. Madame Natasha, Dylan, Tara, Tara's father, and even the critics who only appear at the end of the movie. Kristen doesn't have her own version as she plays the protagonist, changing the shape over the course of the story, and Haley doesn't have her own version either as she traveled to the magic world with Kristen. But why doesn't Madame Katharina have her own version in the magic world? And the biggest mystery of all, how does she know about the magic of the pink shoes? My theory is that Madame Katharina is a being from the magic world who fled to the real world, and she came out of there wearing her ballet shoes. To bolster my theory, I assume Madame Katharina is Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. In case you didn't know, there is a ballet about The Wizard of Oz too. And because she is the protagonist of her story, that's why Kristen takes the form of the protagonist of the stories she goes through. Dorothy, aka Madame Katharina, used the red shoes to escape her world as she could no longer stand the tyranny of the Ice Queen. But why did the red shoes turn pink? Well, the logic is it's a Barbie movie, so it's pink. But you can see that Madame Katharina's shoes are red. The 12 Dancing Princesses to Mare Teresa family tree. So what I can assume is that this is a time period theory. The connection between the 12 Dancing Princesses to Mare Teresa is indirect, as Genevieve from 12 Dancing Princesses becomes Queen Genevieve in Princess and the Pauper. But prior to that, there is no connection for Teresa until Princess and the Pauper. The connection starts with Erica's parents, making its way to Erica, then Alexa and Ian from Diamond Castle, then Catherine's parents, and then Catherine from Christmas Carol, eventually traveling down, leading to Teresa. Wolfie and Serafina are trans. To be honest, I was actually kind of confused by this one, but Kermishi explains it in a TikTok. To explain it in short terms, Wolfie is classified as a calico cat due to his appearance, and in the song Erica sings to Wolfie, she says, "You're no status quo calico." However, calico cats are predominantly female, so that's mainly where the theory comes from. Barbie stole Mariposa's actress in Fairy Princess. According to Kermishi, this implies that Barbie, who in-universe plays Elena in the Fairytopia series, introduced Mariposa, somewhat like a story, where Mariposa is played by a different in-universe actress with a different voice compared to Barbie. In Fairy Princess, we're shown a different-looking Mariposa character with Barbie's voice, hence the in-universe theory that Barbie stole Mariposa out from under the other actress. The Diamond Bush in Princess and the Pop Star is from Diamond Castle. At the end of Diamond Castle, Alexa and Liana are given seeds to plant at their home. Those seeds bloom diamond flowers. Those same diamond flowers are seen in the Diamond Bush in Princess and the Pop Star. This can imply that the two movies might be connected. The Princess and the Pop Star characters are descendants from the Princess and the Pauper characters. It's been speculated by many people that Tori and Kira from The Princess and the Pop Star are descendants from Erica and Annalise. The movies are very similar, and Princess and the Pop Star is a more modern version of Princess and the Pauper, music and all. Bertha is Queen Ariana. Queen Ariana, an island princess, looks very similar to Bertha, a peasant in Diamond Castle. Many fans have speculated this and have come up with theories to explain it. Ariana sings some of it herself in the song Love is for Peasants, such as how her past is quote-unquote nothing I discussed. In Diamond Castle, Ian and Jeremy call the peasant Bertha, so that must mean in order for what she was planning to work, she had to change her identity. So after she quit her job as a barmaid, she ran away to prepare for her plan. Going slightly off the main topic, all of this means that Diamond Castle took place before the Island Princess. Now back to Love is for Peasants / The Island Princess. Ariana then sings, "I must say I cleaned up good," meaning she dyed her hair red and added a fake mole. She also sings, "I found the oldest king that I could, his heart condition was a plus, Sunday we were wed, Wednesday he was dead. Happily, that put an end to us," meaning that she intentionally married an old king so she could have his riches and the title. The Nutcracker was wildly and unexpectedly successful. The success of Barbie and the Nutcracker was probably what kickstarted all of the Barbie movies we grew up watching. Barbie and the Nutcracker had a 94% sell-through rate and sales over 3.5 million units on video and DVD. It grossed US $150 million in total sales, including associated merchandise. It was the second most popular children's video of 2001 in the United States. Lost Barbie Diaries song. In the 2006 Barbie movie, The Barbie Diaries, there is a song titled "I Don't Want to Sleep" that's played in the background of the scene where Barbie and Todd are hanging out.
Let's see what I can do. 1, 2, 3.
It's 1:45 and I'm ready
the ball.
all night 'cause it feels so right.
The song was sung by singer-songwriter Deanna Deliciopa in the movie, but in the album, her version and the song in general is not on the album. There is a version of the song that was sung by the girl group Charms, a band that was made to promote the film in Australia.
I don't wanna sleep tonight, got friends to meet tonight.
Several versions have been posted on YouTube to attempt to replicate the version sung by Deanna, but the song in its entirety has still not been found. Gothel equals Odile. This theory comes from the speculation many fans have that either Odile is the younger version of Gothel, or Gothel is Odile's mother, as Odile's mother is unknown. The two have similar facial structures, magic, and overall character designs. Let me know what you all think about this theory down below. Odile isn't a real girl. This is my own interpretation of this theory as I couldn't find anything for it. In the ballet version of Swan Lake, the characters of Odette and Odile are usually performed by one dancer. In other adaptations, like The Swan Princess, Rothbart has a sidekick who is an old woman and she is transformed into Odile. Or, in the case of Barbie and the Pink Shoes, Tara's counterpart to Kristen is Odile. So it could either be in reference to how Odile, in some adaptations, is not a quote-unquote real person, and that Rothbart may have just created her with his magic, considering that her mother is unknown. Like I said, I'm just speculating. Modern magic beings are self-aware. In movies like Fairy Secret and Fashion Fairy Tale, those who possess some type of magic are self-aware that they possess it. For example, in Fashion Fairy Tale, the Fairies can easily explain to Barbie who and what they are, and they are aware they have magic. Why Mattel dropped Kelly Sheridan and the Spy Squad confusion. My apologies if I butchered Kelly's last name. In 2010, it was announced that Barbie's voice actor, Kelly Sheridan, was let go from voicing Barbie. She had posted the following: I have been receiving lots of emails and posts to my Facebook page lately about the recent Barbie voice recasting. I thought I would take a moment to address your concerns and questions about why I was replaced. I debated saying anything at all, and certainly did not want to until the most recent Barbie movie was released. But it's no secret that Barbie has a new voice, and some of you have genuine concerns that I was the one to leave. Over a year ago, I received a call notifying me of changes Mattel was making to the entire Barbie brand and that it was going to affect the type of movies they would be making. They wanted to move away from the classic princess stories in an effort focused on something more modern and fashion-oriented. While they thanked me for all the work I've done on the past 18 films, I was told they would be looking for a new voice to match this new direction. I have immensely enjoyed playing this iconic character over the past 10 years and love hearing from fans that enjoy the movies as much as I do. The most recent messages from fans on my board offering to campaign on my behalf and contact Mattel have been so touching. Remind me to never make you angry. Your encouragement and support means more than you will ever know. Playing Barbie has been one of those amazing opportunities that only come by a handful of times in an actor's career, and only then if you're lucky. I am a lucky girl indeed. Kelly was brought back to voice the Barbie characters such as in Princess Power and Pearl Princess. Spy Squad confusion may be in reference to how many may have speculated that Kelly was going to voice Barbie. However, Kelly had stopped doing Barbie movies after 2015 with Princess Power, Rockin' Royals, and The Great Puppy Adventure. Magic of Pegasus takes place within the world of the Nutcracker. Many fans have speculated that the Magic of Pegasus and Nutcracker are within the same world due to the watercolor art style they both possess. However, many fans believe that Magic of Pegasus takes place before Nutcracker, as there is a young boy in Magic of Pegasus named Eric, which many have speculated becomes Prince Eric in the Nutcracker. Marie, Odette's sister, became Erica's mother. According to the Barbie Movies wiki, in the movie Princess and the Pauper, Erica's mother has the same appearance as Marie, so this can be theorized. However, the earlier Barbie movies were known for reusing character designs for background characters. Recurrence of slave classes. I think this is referring to how in most of all the historical Barbie movies, there is a recurring theme of lower peasant class, such as in Diamond Castle, Swan Lake, Princess and the Pauper, etc. This theme of slave classes makes its way from historical Barbie to more modern day, such as in Princess Charm School and Princess and the Pop Star, where the royalty seem to not have a care in the world about what the lower class / peasants might be going through. For example, Dame Devon wanting to get rid of an apartment complex that houses low-income people. What time period is Magic of Pegasus set in? Like mentioned earlier, it's said by many that Magic of Pegasus and the Nutcracker seem to be set in the same time period due to how similar the art style looks and how the world seems. It's also speculated that Magic of Pegasus takes place in a later time period. According to the time period theory by Barbie-movie-reviews on Tumblr, it reads the following. Pegasus takes place in one of two timelines that diverged in between this era and the last. I like to think it came from an attempt to stop the ruling class from ever getting their hands on magic. The leaders of a class revolution stole some time-altering magical artifact from a royal family and used it to stop Odette and the Diamond Wives from succeeding. But time travel is messy, and they didn't really do it right. Their version of Earth got cast into a sort of pocket dimension where time converged on itself and created a world with elements from many different points in history. That's why nothing is consistent in the costuming, and royalty doesn't have magic. The magic people are still hidden, they just don't have any windows to the human world. Barbie but make it gay timeline theory. According to the user Barbie but make it gay on TikTok, he explains his timeline theory on TikTok.
So today me and my friends spent the whole day trying to prove that most of the Barbie movies all exist in the same universe, and I'm going to show you how. So it all starts with Barbie Magic of the Pegasus and this little tiara right here. It's very important. So you have these Pegasus from the Cloud Kingdom that all of the characters ride on. The Cloud Queen then gives some of these Pegasi to some of her friends, the Muses. This brings us to Barbie in the Diamond Castle, where you see the Muses riding Pegasi with these tiaras. In Barbie in the Diamond Castle, you meet this woman, Bertha, who's a lowly peasant, and you can tell she's not very happy with her life. So what does she do? She marries a very wealthy king who then dies, and she has a daughter. She also changes her name to completely change her identity. She changes her name to Queen Ariana. That brings us to Barbie and the Island Princess, where we meet, oh, look who it is. It's Queen Ariana, formerly the servant Bertha, and her daughter, Luciana. So Luciana goes off, changes her name to completely disassociate with her evil mother, and changes her name to Isabella, meets a king, and has 12 daughters. Welcome to part 2, where we start off with Queen Isabella, mother of the 12 dancing princesses, formerly known as Princess Luciana from the Island Princess. Isabella is the mother of Genevieve, who gets married to Derek. Now Genevieve and Eric go off and start their own kingdom and struggle to have a baby, but then finally have a little baby girl named Annalise. This brings us to Princess and the Pauper. Yes, this woman's name is Queen Genevieve. It is Queen Genevieve from 12 Dancing Princesses. So now we're going to jump on over to Swan Lake, where you have Odette's sister, Marie. Now, Marie decided to leave town, go off, live off her own world, have adventures, where she meets a man, they're very poor, and they have a daughter named Erica. You cannot tell me that that is not Marie. Go look at part 3 for just a couple little crossovers that are also in a couple different movies. Part 3, a couple fun little crossovers. You have this girl in Swan Lake. She grows up and she becomes... I mean, you can't tell me that they are not the same person. Now bringing Nutcracker into the mix, you have this little boy in Magic of the Pegasus who says that his name is Eric and he becomes Prince Eric in the Nutcracker. Also in the Nutcracker, you have these flower fairies. And where else do we have flower fairies? In Barbie Fairytopia, they're literally flower fairies. Also, a final movie we're bringing in, Upper Christmas Carol, where you have here the orphanage owner. You can also find him in Barbie Island Princess, where he is the royal scientist. I don't have a picture of him, but I promise he's there. But after hearing the tragic story of the girl orphan on the island, he decided to dedicate his life to helping other orphans and went and opened his own orphanage. And I'm sure there are plenty of plot holes in this theory, but it's just fun that we're having. So comment below some of your theories, and yeah, thanks. Okay, more proof of the Barbie cinematic universe. This baker in Barbie Rapunzel, sorry for the bad quality, is also seen in Princess and the Pauper. This shows that this man moved between the two kingdoms at some point in between the two movies, and it is all in the same universe. Also, say hi to my friend Deanna, who helps me make these. All right, moving on. In Barbie and the Diamond Castle, you have these dresses, which are very similar styles to the one in Barbie and the 12 Dancing Princesses. This kind of helps me show that they're kind of in the same era and time because they have similar style dresses. We are also working on fitting in how Barbie as an actress fits into all these theories, so let me know if you want to see those. So, Barbie is an actress. Let's go. So a lot of you have been commenting about the fact that Barbie is an actress in all of these movies. This was also brought up by the beautiful human Julia, who I love, and I can't wrap my head around the fact that she noticed me and talked to me. Wild. But the whole point is that in Barbie, a fashion fairy tale, she is an actress who then has to move to Paris and yada yada yada. So here's how I think that Barbie as an actress fits into all of this. So one big part of this is that magic exists in Barbie in a fashion fairy tale, and it also exists in my previous universe that I have set up. You also have moments in like Barbie in a Swan Lake where Barbie is telling a story to her younger sister Kelly, like she is retelling a historical story that actually happened. So my theory is that Barbie is a historical actress in all of these movies about their land's history, because they still have magic. There was magic back then, so they have all of these stories from way back when, and she is an actress helping retell all of these stories. So yeah, that's what I think.
Modern magic is gatekept by the upper class. This theory, coming from user Barbie-movie-reviews on Tumblr, who has made an appearance several times in this video, has a very long time period theory that regarding this topic in particular states the following. Magic is a privilege for the 1%. In Barbie's era, the world might seem like ours politically, but it was not. In this universe, there were no political revolutions, at least none that succeeded. Monarchy remained the standard system of government, likely with the help of some ancient artifacts and winged friends. Now, in the not-so-distant future, relative to our day, we see how society has been shaped by this crucial change. There are many smaller kingdoms, rather than few large countries. Heirs and wealthy children are sent away to learn how to govern effectively, but they remain mostly ignorant of their subjects' concerns, aka Princess Charm School and Princess and the Pop Star. It is an unjust system and the people know, but there's nothing they can do about it. We see in Rockin' Royals that the royal families have managed to replicate certain magical objects. Every royal child has a magic scepter. We also see this in Princess Charm School with the magic crown. It's possible humans did this. After all, ingenuity is probably our most important trait. But it's more likely that these were gifts from the fairies. They now operate as a shadow government, giving royalty magic weapons and tools in exchange for political influence. In all the magic societies we see here, people are prospering. The conflict never comes from inequality or suffering from the masses. It comes from people trying to usurp the throne, literally every time. So while there is conflict amongst the ruling class of the magic people, their masses don't suffer, but they do in the human world. This post by Barbie-movie-reviews will be brought up again later on in the video. Puppy Adventure Barbie is possessed by a demon. This may possibly be in reference to how the character designs of Puppy Adventure look. A lot of people were thrown off by the new design. Rapunzel is from Dulcinea. Dulcinea is a kingdom in Princess and the Pauper that is ruled by King Dominic. The castle in Dulcinea also is seen in the Rapunzel movie, which can make us believe that the two movies take place within the same universe. Princess and the Pauper is said to be set before Rapunzel, so we can assume that the prince in Rapunzel is a descendant from Prince Dominic and Erica's kids. Queen Ariana/Luciana family tree timeline theory. This theory mixes in 3 Barbie movies: Diamond Castle, The Island Princess, and The 12 Dancing Princesses. According to the Barbie movies wiki, in Diamond Castle, there is a servant named Bertha, who is very unhappy with her life, so she then marries a king and changes her name to Queen Ariana. Which brings us to Island Princess, where Luciana marries a prince and changes her name to Queen Isabella, so she can completely disassociate with her mother. Her and the king have 12 daughters. The Princess Diana theory.
Some came simply to stare, but most came in a sort of spontaneous pilgrimage to the road where Princess Diana's car crashed and killed her.
The Princess Diana theory is in reference to the Barbie movie Barbie Princess Charm School. In Princess Charm School, it is mentioned that the royal family died in a car crash, which many people speculate is in reference to the death of Princess Diana, who died in a car crash in 1997.
Blair, you know what April 26th is, don't you?
Yeah. My birthday. I just said that.
It's the day the royal family died in that car crash.
Another reason why people speculate this is that Dame Devon admits to killing the royal family, which many speculate that this is in reference to the theory many have that someone in the British royal family had Diana killed.
You useless child! Do you have any idea what you've done? I eliminated Queen Isabella so you could be princess one day!
Rowena and Desmond's corpses are still dancing. This theory comes from the end of the 12 Dancing Princesses movie, which Rowena wishes for Genevieve to dance forever and ever and ever. Genevieve fans the dust towards Rowena, causing her to dance instead and dragging Desmond with her. As the wish states, dance forever and ever and ever, hence theorizing that the two will dance until death and maybe even after. Barbie Live Asia Tour. Barbie Live is known for having a lot of lost media regarding it, as the show doesn't really have much archived. With only a few videos circulating, the Asia Tour ran from 2013 to 2014. There is no full recording of the show or a cast recording. The Queen in 12 Dancing Princesses died during childbirth. It's been theorized by many that the Queen in the 12 Dancing Princesses may have died during or after childbirth, as she gave birth to 12 daughters. The theory goes as the following. Queen Isabella's cause of death is never specified. though lots of fans believe she died of childbirth complications either during or shortly after the triplets were born. Some fans argue that she probably didn't die right after, given Genevieve says that the triplets might not remember their mother much, indicating she was around for at least some of the girls' early childhood, but that labor complications was what ultimately caused her demise. It wouldn't be all that surprising, given Isabella had already given birth to 9 children, with most of the girls looking pretty close in age, indicating she was continuously pregnant a lot. She was having a multiple birth for a 3rd time, and may have been an older mother by this point, based on her husband's and daughter's ages, all of which can contribute to pregnancy/birth complications. Though beyond Isabella dying several years before the triplets' 5th birthday, there's never any hint that this is why she died in the film and tie-in materials, understandably as this film is aimed at young children. Magic Illuminati secretly rules the modern world. The Magic Illuminati is in reference to the fairies and fairy secret, as they have their own government and system put in place. According to Barbie-movie-reviews on Tumblr, the fairy Illuminati, who are not only aware of humanity, but actively try to influence the course of its history. They keep tabs on all major government leaders and celebrities. Perhaps they want to be on top again. Fairytopia was a pre-human civilization/divergent evolution. This will also be brought up again in the timeline theory. According to user Barbie-movie-reviews on Tumblr, the theory goes as follows. The first beings to rule the earth in this universe were not humans, but fairies. They lived alongside mermaids, enjoying magic of all sorts. There were many different kinds of fairies: rainbow, butterfly, crystal, to name a few. They were hardly at peace with each other. There are plenty of instances where people try to unjustly usurp power, such as in Fairytopia, or provoke war with neighboring factions, such as in Mariposa and the Fairy Princess. Certain kinds also had natural predators, and they were extremely dependent on the natural environment. Their societies were fragile. By the time we get to the historical era titles, fairies are mostly gone or at least hidden. Where did the humans come from? They're wingless fairies like Alina. While Alina scored some wings by the end of her first film, not every fairy is going to get that lucky. Some of these people grew bitter at being rejected by fairy society and chose to form a place of their own, somewhere where they could live their lives and be free of ridicule. They learned to build tools to compensate for their lack of magic. Their technology got better, yet their resentment for their magical cousins remained. This conflict eventually escalated into a war. Perhaps this was already happening during the events of Mariposa, with Henna conspiring to decimate the butterfly fairy populations by removing their primary protection from the Skeezits. Laverna could have agreed to use the water poison to massacre the mermaids in Mermaidia. The wingless end up winning this war, and the fairies go into hiding, practically extinct. The Barbie Diaries too. So when searching this up, I did not find anything on it, so I don't know if this was a potential scrapped concept that they had. I'm not sure, but to replace this one, because I feel like it's unfair to have this on here and briefly talk about it, we're going to talk about another one, Barbie Fairytopia Magical Twist of Time. A movie you may have never heard of, Barbie Fairytopia Magical Twist of Time is allegedly a scrapped concept as either the 4th movie in the Fairytopia series, or it would have been the 5th movie after Barbie Mariposa. The movie has been rumored fake due to it appearing somewhere on Wikipedia. However, according to others, back in 2011, Rotten Tomatoes, a movie rating site, had the movie on its site. When searching for it on the site now, it won't pop up. After using the Wayback Machine to look up the movie on Rotten Tomatoes, the movie did have a Rotten Tomatoes page, and it states that the movie was set for 2009 and in theaters, meaning it would have been after the Mariposa movie, as Barbie Mariposa came out in 2008. No movie poster was set, but it does give information about the plot, and it reads as follows. While Alina and Bibble are having fun in Magic Meadow, Laverna eats the immunity berry from Mermaidia that gives her the power of immunity from all magic past, present, and future. She twists time, reverting to when Alina was a wingless fairy. This movie has not seen the light of day and probably never will, as it has been regarded by many online to be a fan-made story. Charms. Charms was an actual band that was created based off the Barbie Diaries in order to promote the movie in Australia. To promote the release of the film, Mattel teamed up with Australian record label Shock Records to put together a local 4-piece girl band under the name Charms in the likeness of Barbie's in-film band through a singing contest for girls aged 8 to 14. The aspiring girls of around 500 entrants had to send in a video of themselves singing, of which 4 would be plucked from. The 4 plucked out were Gianna, Paris, Lauren, all aged 13 at the time, and 14-year-old Shannon. The 4 winners, now under the Charms name, were taken to a recording studio in Sydney, where they were mentored by former Australian Idol contestant Ricky Lee Coulter. Their self-titled album was released on October 28, 2006. Preminger fanfiction. Something I found out a while back is that people have written Preminger fanfiction. To each his own, but I couldn't believe that was a thing. Lacey is Genevieve's. This theory, by Barbie Movies Trivia on Tumblr, claims that Lacey is actually Genevieve's daughter rather than her sister. The theory reads as the following. My theory is that just around the time the Queen became pregnant with the twins, Janessa and Kathleen, Genevieve got pregnant with Lacey. Genevieve would have been scandalously young, and likely the first time she had sex. The family agreed to make it seem like the Queen had triplets, but they kept Genevieve out of sight to hide her teen pregnancy. This caused Genevieve to take interest in arts and crafts projects, which kept her busy, but also caused her to lose track of time and to always be late, a bad habit that has clearly continued to this day. However, the idea that the Queen had triplets would have been skeptical to anyone who observed the family dynamics. Although the family was close, not only was Genevieve closer to the younger girls, she was also closest to Lacey. Likewise with Lacey, although she was closer to the fellow youngest girls, she was closest to Genevieve. It wasn't an oldest-youngest pairing, which would have been Ashlyn Lacey. And even if it was, why Lacey and not the other 2 youngest? Lacey's father was some random tutor, so King Randolph was hesitant to allow any tutors to teach the girls. In Princess and the Pauper, Julian was Annalise's tutor, and no one seemed to care. But Randolph knew that having tutors would reignite the rumors that circulated around Lacey's birth. In fact, by asking for Duchess Rowena's help, his attempt to prevent the quote-unquote talk has caused enough talk already. People wondered why the princesses, who desperately needed teachers, weren't getting the best ones. Why did they have to ask a family member? Was it specifically a woman? Genevieve decided that she would tell Lacey the truth of what happened when she was older. In the meantime, she tried to act as if they were all sisters, but she couldn't help be more protective of her daughter, especially since she had adopted her mother's inclination to be more accident-prone. I'd like to know what you all think about this theory down below. Preminger killed the king. So I want to preface before we start that this theory and the other 2 theories on this list are really long, so please bear with me. So this theory by the user Blueberry Bubbles 130 explains how Preminger may have killed the king in Princess and the Pauper in order to save his own ass. This theory is pretty long, just like everything else in this video, so please bear with me. So first, for a bit of background. In the movie, the king isn't mentioned at all, and we only see him once at the beginning of the movie, which is in the prologue. From this evidence, it's incredibly safe to say he is dead by the time the movie takes place. Now, if we look at Rin's analysis and the evidence they use from the movie, they state Preminger comes into the role of Queen Genevieve's advisor when Annalise is around 6 years old. From here, the timeline becomes messy, as we don't know when Julian becomes the tutor to Annalise. I'm assuming that he becomes her tutor at least 3 to 5 years before the movie begins. This is a bit clearer if we look again at Rin's analysis, in which they theorize about the difference in time between Julian and Preminger's arrival at the palace, as they state with more movie evidence in which Julian can remember living in the village. As well as this, Annalise and Julian are really close at the beginning of the movie, which shows that they've gotten to know each other very well. So I think that Julian is a bit older than Annalise, not by much though, so I'm going to say he's about 2 years older than Annalise. This leaves about 5 to 6 years maximum for Preminger to get rid of any evidence he may have still lying around from him murdering the king, from him coming to the castle to Julian's arrival at the palace. So for the theory itself, I think that Preminger murdered the king a year or two into his role as a royal advisor. Now you might be asking, why would Preminger kill the king? That's because I think the king was incredibly close to discovering Preminger's plan to steal the gold, so he decides to murder him in order to truly get rid of him and keep his plan a secret. This is because the king was probably the smartest out of him and Genevieve at the time. Therefore, the king would question Preminger more. And let's be real for a moment. He probably realized that Preminger is clearly evil, while Annalise would be about 7 or 8 according to the timeline, so she'd be too young at the time and less of a concern to Preminger. Now by doing this, Preminger in fact gets a few things out of murdering the king, the main one being that he can keep his plan a secret much longer, allowing him a greater chance at succeeding. The second thing he gets out of this is now an increase of power through Queen Genevieve. Throughout the movie, it is shown that Preminger has Queen Genevieve completely under his thumb, a massive example being when he proposes to her. We'll be coming back to this piece of evidence later. And from this, we can assume for a while before the start of the movie, Preminger was essentially making the decisions for the kingdom while manipulating Genevieve into agreeing with him, or making it look like she's the one truly making the decisions, because as much as I love Genevieve, it's clearly shown, at best, she's completely dependent upon Preminger, and at worst, dumb on her own. Once Preminger kills the king, this leaves a grieving Annalise and a vulnerable Queen Genevieve. She is now a widow, with a kingdom and a child to not only look after, but to make sure she's an experienced heir to the throne. On top of that, she's going to be grieving, and that's going to make things a lot harder for her. This is where Preminger's manipulation of Queen Genevieve truly begins. Through her grief, Preminger can manipulate her by making it seem like he's helping her work through her grief, while also making it seem like he's the answer to her problems of taking care of the kingdom. As a result, this increases the power and wealth Preminger holds, all while making Queen Genevieve completely dependent on him over time. This leaves the timeline looking like this. Genevieve and the king become a couple, Annalise is born, Preminger is hired as the royal advisor when Annalise is about 6, the king is murdered by Preminger when Annalise is about 7 or 8, Julian is hired, the events of the movie happen. All that's left to figure out is how the king was murdered. Now, if you've seen the movie or have seen a review, you know that when he has to, Preminger is 100% willing to murder people. This is shown when he tries to murder Annalise and Julian by causing a cave-in within the royal mine, which happens because Julian and Annalise are smart enough to realize that Preminger is evil, and by this point, murder is Preminger's only option to secure his plan. The evidence is also important, as it reinforces how experienced Preminger is when it comes to manipulating Genevieve, because the next 2 scenes are when Preminger exposes Erica and then the proposal scene. The proposal scene shows how he uses Genevieve's own grief against her to marry her in order to become king, completely disregarding any emotion she may have had about the situation. It not only shows that he has total power over her, since she doesn't even make a verbal response, she just turns around and holds out her hand for the ring to be placed on her finger. It's also shown that he is very used to doing this and knows that in this situation, all he has to do is present himself as the solution to her problem. But this time, he's gone so desperate and thinks that he's won, so he doesn't even bother hiding his evil intent from Genevieve. At this point, he's managed to figuratively and literally back her into a corner where he is her only option. Going back to how Preminger murdered the king, he has a few options for how he could have done it. He can make it look like an accident or natural causes. He can make it look like someone else murdered him, or not care at all how it looks and get rid of the evidence later. Again, looking at the movie, when he tries to murder Annalise and Julian by collapsing the mine, he at least tries to make it look somewhat like an accident. At least I think he does. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So, I'm more inclined to go with option 1 for his method. We also have to remember that the movie is set loosely somewhere in the 16th century. So, there's more ways to get away with a crime, and it's before Julian arrives at the palace, meaning Preminger has less to worry about when he commits the murder. Preminger also seems like the type to not have much physical involvement in a murder. That is, yet again, shown in the mine collapse scene. So I'm going to say that Preminger most likely poisoned the king. This is because poison was widely available at the time, with the apothecaries selling poisons, as some poisons had functions apart from murder. This means that he can easily get it and get more if he ever needed to. So to summarize the theory, Preminger murders the king because he's coming too close to discovering Preminger's plan to gain power and chooses to kill him by poison. This leaves Genevieve vulnerable to Preminger's manipulation that, while not making him just yet, gives him a bigger increase of power while pushing his plan further along. Then, the events of the movie occur that force him to change his plans and in turn bring about Preminger's downfall and defeat. Barbie-movie-reviews Tumblr.com's 5-time period universe theory. After mentioning it in parts throughout the entire video, we finally have made it to the time period universe theory. This theory from Barbie-movie-reviews on Tumblr is pretty long, so bear with me. This theory states that the connections span starting from ancient civilization. Ancient. In the beginning, there were fairies, but they were not meant to last. The first beings to rule on this earth in this universe were not humans, but fairies. They lived alongside mermaids, enjoying magic of all sorts. There were many different kinds of fairies: rainbow, butterfly, crystal, to name a few. They were hardly at peace with each other. There are plenty of instances where people try to unjustly usurp power, such as in Fairytopia, or provoke a war with neighboring factions, such as in Mariposa and the Fairy Princess. Certain kinds also had natural predators, and they were extremely dependent on the natural environment. Their societies were fragile. By the time we get to the historical era titles, fairies are mostly gone or at least hidden. Where did the humans come from? They're wingless fairies like Alina. While Alina scored some wings by the end of her first film, not every fairy is going to get that lucky. Some of these people grew bitter at being rejected by fairy society and chose to form a place of their own, somewhere where they could live their lives free of ridicule. They learned to build tools to compensate for their lack of magic. Their technology got better, yet their resentment for their magical cousins remained. This conflict eventually escalated into a war. Perhaps this was already happening during the events of Mariposa, with Henna conspiring to decimate the butterfly fairy populations by removing their primary protection from the Skeezits. Laverna could have agreed to use the water poison to massacre the mermaids in Mermaidia. The wingless end up winning the war, and the fairies go into hiding, practically extinct. Historical. Old wars forgotten, magic makes its way back to the world. We fast forward to the Middle Ages, and magic is still fairly abundant, albeit hidden. In this era, we see two instances where humans are let back into the realm of magic: Swan Lake and Diamond Castle. Interestingly enough, both of these take place during the Middle Ages. Based on the clothing styles of the peasants, Barbie's looks are pretty anachronistic, and the architecture, which is the earliest of all the quote-unquote historical movies. In Swan Lake, Odette stumbles upon a hidden forest where she discovers she's the only one who can defeat an ancient evil. She succeeds and marries into royalty. In Diamond Castle, the Diamond Wives are sent on a quest to stop another ancient evil, and in return are given flowers that grow diamonds. By the end, they become close with the kingdom's heirs. You'll notice from here on out, magic is strongly associated with royalty. These two royal families that have the knowledge of magic will come to shape the course of history until the end of time. I personally think that the 12 dancing princesses are related to Odette because of both their magic's emphasis on the hidden realms. Annalise is also in this line, as her mother's name is Genevieve, so the timing works. Present. Magic still thrives in the dark. It's unsurprising that Barbie is the next person to be brought into the world of magic. In Thumbelina, Fashion Fairy Tale, and A Fairy Secret, Barbie gets a glimpse of the hidden world, away from humans and away from each other. Fairies have evolved. One very notable thing is that the 2 out of the 3 types of fairies we see in this era are wingless. Perhaps it wasn't a random mutation, but instead the natural progression of their evolution. By now, we know that there's gotta be some type of outside force pushing everything along, making sure the plots tie up neat and the right people are chosen for the right thing. It's hardly a stretch to say that this force is influencing how fairies evolve. In Thumbelina, we learn that Barbie is aware of the Twillerbees, a race of wingless fairies with the ability to influence how plants grow. These seemed the most unchanged from the fairies of Fairytopia. They even have seemed to regress a little bit. Their powers aren't as strong and their society is far less complex. This is likely a result of them deliberately avoiding the human world. They know nothing about it, so they have nothing to emulate. Contrast that with the Fairies and the Fairy Illuminati, who are not only aware of humanity, but actively try to influence the course of its history. The Fairies do it in a minor way, as they just want to influence fashion. The Fairy Illuminati, on the other hand, they keep tabs on all major government leaders and celebrities. Perhaps they want to be on top again. Near future. Magic is a privilege for the 1%. In Barbie's era, the world might have seemed like ours politically, but it was not. In this universe, there were no political revolutions, at least none that succeeded. Monarchy remained the standard system of government, likely with the help of some ancient artifacts and winged friends. Now, in the not-so-distant future, relative to our day, we see how society has been shaped by this crucial change. There are many smaller kingdoms, rather than a few large countries. Heirs and wealthy children are sent away to learn how to govern effectively, but they remain mostly ignorant of their subjects' concerns, aka Princess Charm School and Princess and the Pop Star. It is an unjust system and the people know, but there's nothing they can do about it. We see in Rock and Royals that the royal families have managed to replicate certain magical objects. Every royal child has a magic scepter. We also see this in Princess Charm School with the magic crown. It's possible humans did this. After all, ingenuity is probably our most important trait. But I think it's more likely that these were gifts from the fairies. They now operate as a shadow government, giving royalty magic weapons and tools in exchange for political influence. In all the magic societies we see here, people are prospering. The conflict never comes from inequality or suffering from the masses. It comes from people trying to usurp the throne, literally every time. So while there is conflict amongst the ruling class of the magic people, their masses don't suffer, but they do in the human world. Postmodern. Eons later, the universe tries to make things right. There are only 2 titles here, and they couldn't be more different. Magic of the Pegasus and Starlight Adventure. I can see your confusion. What is Pegasus doing here? It takes place sometime around not the future. But it does take place in the future. There's a reason no one can pinpoint the era it's from. Pegasus takes place in one of the 2 timelines that diverge in between this era and the last. I'd like to think it came from an attempt to stop the ruling class from ever getting their hands on magic. The leaders of a class revolution stole some time-altering magical artifact from a royal family and used it to stop Odette and the Diamond Wives from succeeding. But time travel is messy, and they didn't really do it right. Their version of Earth got cast into a sort of pocket dimension where time converged on itself and created a world with elements from many different points in history. That's why nothing is consistent in the costuming, and royalty doesn't have magic. The magic people are still hidden. They just don't have any windows to the human world. But time travel only really works if you make a new timeline. That's why Starlight exists. It's the natural progression from where we left off. Eventually, space travel gets big and people become mostly removed from magic. Human ingenuity regains supreme again and technology booms. But the universe doesn't last forever and heat death is imminent. So that force that's been pushing everything along finally does what it intended to do from the beginning and wakes up magic again. Its goal is to stop the universe from dying, and it knows magic can do that. So it made sure that some magic people made their way across the universe and were in position to make things right when the time came. So Barbie saves the universe for another era at least. So, the chronological order of the films are as follows: Barbie Fairytopia, Barbie Mermaidia, Barbie Mariposa, Mariposa and the Fairy Princess, Barbie Fairytopia Magic of the Rainbow, Barbie Swan Lake, Barbie and the Diamond Castle, Barbie as Rapunzel, Barbie and the 12 Dancing Princesses, Barbie as the Princess and the Pauper, Barbie and the Three Musketeers, The Island Princess, The Nutcracker, Barbie in A Christmas Carol, The Barbie Diaries, Spy Squad, A Fashion Fairy Tale, A Fairy Secret, A Perfect Christmas, Barbie and Her Sisters in a Ponytail, Barbie Presents Thumbelina, Barbie Video Game Hero, Barbie and Her Sisters in The Great Puppy Adventure, Barbie and Her Sisters in a Puppy Chase, Dolphin Magic, Barbie in the Pink Shoes, Barbie in a Mermaid Tale, Barbie in a Mermaid Tale 2, Princess Charm School, The Princess and the Pop Star, Rock and Royals, The Pearl Princess, Barbie and the Secret Door, Princess Power, Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus, and Barbie Starlight Adventure. Barbie Movie Reviews Tumblr.com's Barbie is God theory. This theory, just like the last one, is pretty long, so let's get into it. Have any of you guys ever played a Zelda game? I've only actually ever played one, but from my understanding of the series as a whole, there isn't really a concrete timeline linking them all together. The stories don't feed into each other. Instead, each game features a new incarnation of Link and Zelda. They're all reincarnated and have similar roles in each time. Link saves the world, Zelda does some magic, die, repeat. The cynical hero is a surprisingly common trope in fiction, and it's one that I love a lot. The fundamental constant of these universes is that there are two or more forces in a constant struggle against each other. In my Zelda example, Link, Zelda, and Ganon/Dwarf represent the three parts of the Triforce: courage, wisdom, and power respectively, which are pretty important forces in universe. The universe manifests the progress of these concepts and ideologies by creating the hero/heroes to oppose one of them. I've wondered for a while why I like these stories so much. Maybe it's my inner need to cling to the constraints in this chaotic and unforgiving universe. Maybe I like the angst and reality of knowing that evil doesn't end when you kill it. Maybe it's just a flavorful enough variation of The Chosen One that I can pretend it's highbrow literature. Regardless, it's a good one. Anyways, you probably guessed by now, I think Barbie is a cynical hero. In the BCU, the struggle looks like a pretty cut and dry good versus evil, but I think it's a bit more complicated than that. If you recall my timeline, the cycle starts with Fairytopia. The world is full of magic, and the first non-magical beings are appearing. The Barbie is one of them. She helps to placate the anti-magic sentiment amongst the Fae long enough for more non-magic beings to appear, who would eventually become the humans and drive the Fae into hiding. As the eras pass, the Barbie of each story almost always has a role in guiding magic or preserving it in some way. Finally, we get to the split end of time, and her roles are to 1. Stop evil from usurping the throne in the Fae world, which would crumble the meager civilization they preserved, Magic of the Pegasus, and 2. Stop the quote-unquote big rip end of universe scenario by reintroducing magic or dark energy if we want to use proper astronomy terms, Starlight Adventure. The Barbie's job is to ultimately make sure the universe ends with magic still in it, and to do that, every event in the universe had to progress the way it did. Each era had its own cosmic significance. If this is true, this means whatever is scattering Barbie across the universe has to have some ultimate knowledge of time. I think whatever this force is doesn't experience time the way we do, so at any point in time, it could be the end or the beginning for it. This is relevant, I promise. So okay, each Barbie is an incarnation of the same being. Yes, this means she interacts with herself sometimes. Yes, that means she's given birth to herself, Queen Genevieve of Princess and the Pauper being the same Princess Genevieve from 12 Dancing Princesses is a hill I'm prepared to die on. And the reason for it all is to guide magic to where it's supposed to be. Great, so why the fuck do we have an in-universe movies about them all? Let's discuss Barbie Prime. Recall this era of the Barbie theory, the one that deals with Barbie Prime herself. In these movies, her name is Barbie, and they take place in some variation of nowadays. Obviously, they're all about the same person, so let's break down her story. Barbie Prime was the child of neglectful parents. She had 3 sisters, but no way to take care of them on her own. As a normal teenager living in Wisconsin, she didn't have a source of income beyond a minimum wage job after school. Things were bad. Until she got an idea. It was a story about a girl, a nutcracker, and a fantasy world hidden in a mouse hole. She wrote it down movie script style because that's how it came to her. But as the story flowed from her fingers to the keyboard, it was less like she was creating it and more like she was remembering it. When it was finished, she sold it to a movie studio in LA on the pretext that she would star in it. This shouldn't have worked, but the stars aligned in her favor. She'd soon realize they always would when the time was right. At 15, she was old enough to be emancipated from her parents. With proof of substantial income and some help from the stars, she managed to gain the custody of her sisters too, and they went off to LA. Time passed, and Barbie Prime wrote script after script. Every time she needed something new, she would find some memory of a story hidden in the back of her mind like a forgotten dream. Eventually, she'd fall out with the director of one of her films and fight her way to directing her own movies. She made them a bit softer after this. She didn't really like the real world, knowing too much about what it was like in those worlds she used to be a part of. She struggled to parent her sisters, but she found time to take them on vacations and made sure they went back home often enough, despite the bad memories. The magic in her mind would seep into her own world too. She discovered several Fae realms, populated by both winged and wingless varieties. She felt a bit saner writing these stories down, and much more genuine acting in them. As she grew older, her own adventures became more mundane, chasing puppies around Hawaii and running after the perfect horse in the hills of Switzerland. But just when she started to doubt herself too much, she'd get sucked into a video game or rescue a mermaid. Eventually, she'd write them all down and bring them all to life. She felt an overwhelmingly sense of peace seeing them exist concretely. So here's the point. Barbie Prime was some sort of cult for all the Barbies scattered across time. It was her job to record her own history. So my final thoughts on this video are, holy fuck, I was not expecting this video to be now my second longest iceberg video, as it's, I think, an hour and 15 minutes long, maybe an hour and 16. The Ever After High one was an hour and 17 minutes long. So I wasn't expecting it to go over an hour, but I really wanted to go in depth with the last 3 theories on the iceberg. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share, and comment down below what else you guys want me to talk about on this channel. I enjoyed making this. At the same token, I'm so tired. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I did this for you all. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time on my channel. Bye, guys.